Hey guys, I'm excited for today's video because this is going to be the third in my beginner's guide to makeup series. So I am going to be talking about my recommendations for a full face of makeup from affordable brands. I have so many recommendations I want to give, and I'm going to split this up. So today we're going to be talking about complexion and cheeks, and then part 4 we will talk about brows, eyes, and lips. And I am going to be recommending things that I have tried personally, as well as products that I have heard raved about by several people all over social media. And again, please leave your comments down below of your favorite affordable products in these categories, or if you've tried some of these recommendations and you haven't liked them, please share why, so that we can just be helping each other kind of narrow down the things we may want to try, or just give us ideas of where to start. Side note, I am wearing just a regular t-shirt today, which I don't often do. Usually have a v-neck on, you know, it's so different. But I recently went to go see the RuPaul's Halloween tour, which was amazing. The shirt cost me $45, so I have to show it off as more than a pajama shirt, but it was so much fun. I'm so glad we went. Justin surprised me with tickets, and it was a very good event. Our venue was super nice, great seats, so just had to show off my shirt today. Let me know if any of you guys watch RuPaul's Drag Race. Let's chat down below. So getting into the product recommendations, I am going to give recommendations for every category of makeup. It doesn't mean that you need to use all these things. Please don't feel pressure to go buy one of these things in every category. The last video I did was more of a 10-minute face where I pared down the makeup steps that I thought was great for day to day. But as I mentioned in that video, I am an all or nothing girl. I don't do just like a 5 product face or keep it simple. It is nothing or it is everything like today. So let's get into the recommendations, starting with face primer. And a lot of people think that primer does nothing, and I can't tell you exactly what it does, but I tell you I like trying them. It is not necessary. If you just make sure that you do your skincare, you've properly moisturized your skin, you should be good to go, especially if you put your moisturizer on relatively recently before you started applying your makeup. But if nothing else, I feel like primer just helps my foundation glide on a little bit smoother. So I have several different recommendations here. Mostly they're from NYX, but I will start with the non-NYX one that I would recommend if you're looking for a glowy option. This is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Perfector 4-in-1 Glow Makeup. I have the shade 00 Fair Light. It does give a little color to the skin. This just gives a super subtle glow. And this is supposed to be a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Filter. e.l.f. also just released the Halo Glow, which has a large doe foot applicator, which is the same packaging as the Charlotte Tilbury. I have not been able to pick that up yet. The lighter shades have been sold out for months. They're sold out on e.l.f.'s website and Target. So when that restocks, I can't wait to try it. People have been loving it so much. So I feel like the 2 of those would be a really good glowy option for you. The e.l.f. does come in more colors, so you might want to try that one over the Maybelline if you feel like the Maybelline doesn't have a good shade for you, or if you're grossed out by this type of applicator. I personally am not. The other primer that I have not tried, but people have been dying over, is the e.l.f. Power Grip. It's supposed to be a dupe for the Milk Hydro Grip Primer, and it is a very sticky primer that's supposed to help your foundation stick on your skin, wear all day long. I can't get over that sticky texture to even test it to see if that would work for me, but I know e.l.f. has done several versions of that milk primer dupe. They had the Jelly Pop, the Mint Melt, but it seems like the Power Grip is the one that people are liking the most. So if you're wanting a sticky gripping primer to hopefully help your makeup wear longer, that might be a good option. If you are wanting to experiment with a gripping primer, but you don't want that like actual tack, this is a less intense option. I just used mine up recently, the NYX Plump Right Back. It is a plumping serum and primer, and this did a nice job of helping the makeup stick on my skin, but it wasn't so sticky that the texture bothered me. It was still super easy to blend out. So this is a less intense version, and NYX has a ton of great primers. They also have the Marshmallow Primer, which is good for just an overall smoothing effect. This does have a sweet marshmallow scent though. I personally don't love it. I notice it as I'm applying it, but I'm not smelling it sitting on my skin later, luckily. Also, these are not full size. I got these as freebies from Ulta, and this is a very generous freebie size. Then if you're wanting a hydrating primer, if you have really dry skin, the NYX Hydra Touch is a great option. I think that that's supposed to be similar to the Smashbox Primerizer, which is one of my favorite high-end hydrating primers. And then this is something that I've tried recently that I do think is good. It doesn't completely blow me away. This is the NYX Pore Filler Targeted Stick. So this is a targeted stick. You're not going to draw this on all over. You're going to go right over where your large pores are, maybe where you have like a little extra oil. And this does do a nice job of helping to blur. It doesn't, you know, wipe them away. So if you're looking for a dramatic effect, you might not see it. It looked more dramatic on TikTok, but it is nice and it's super easy to apply makeup over top. It doesn't ball up. This is a nice product. So those would be my recommendations for all the different types of primers, but again, it's not a necessary makeup step for everyone, but I like doing it. So I think NYX is the best brand for primers, and I think L'Oreal is the best brand for foundations. So if you are looking for a day-to-day light medium coverage, more of a natural finish foundation, I highly recommend the L'Oreal True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum. I have the shade 0.5-2, very light, and skin tints have been all the rage. I have tried the one from Cali Ray from Rare Beauty. I think that those are really good. I like this much better. My last video I did apply this, so you can check it out to see what that looked like, what the coverage looked like. I did do like a half and half, and it did a really nice job of softening the look of the redness on my skin without looking like I'm wearing a full coverage mask. This is just so good for everyone for day to day. If you're really oily, I would say make sure you really set this nicely with powder, but I absolutely love this for a light medium option. If you're looking for a full coverage foundation, the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte, if you have oily skin, and Pro Glow, if you have dry skin, are gonna be your best bet. They have a pretty wide shade range, and this is so good. I totally neglected this in my foundation collection for a couple years, but I used it up this year and absolutely fell in love. It is very long wearing. It's nice and matte without feeling dry or looking dry on my skin. Blends in so nicely, wears well. This is just so good. And another foundation I really love, I'm wearing this one today. This is the Profusion Feel Good Skin Long Wear Skin Perfector. I have the shade Fair One Warm Yellow, and this is beautiful. This does give full coverage, but has more of a natural finish. So it finish wise is going to be right between those two L'Oreal with the similar amount of coverage. This does have a scent to it. It smells like a floral perfume, which is not my favorite, but again, it's something I'm just noticing when I'm applying it, not after it's been sitting on my skin, not throughout the day, thankfully. And you can find Profusion at some Walmarts. The Walmart by my work had some eyeshadow palettes in like a very small section. They would get their limited edition collections, but the Walmart by my parents' house has the full Profusion display, which is where I got this, and it was only like $8. So this is super affordable, and definitely if you want to save yourself time from trying to hound it down, check the Walmart website. This is such a nice product. I can't believe, I mean, look at my skin. Look at my coverage. Like, this, I also don't have it mixed with anything else, which I usually am mixing. It's a great shade match for me. This is just so phenomenal. It's seriously only $8. So for concealer, I have some options depending on the type of coverage you're looking for. If you're wanting just light coverage, the Maybelline Fit Me concealer I do think is very nice. I've used that a lot over the years, and it also can be good if you have more dry skin. Then if you are looking for more of a medium coverage concealer, I recommend the NYX Bare With Me Concealer Serum. I'm wearing this under my eyes today. I have the color Light, and the only negative with this for me is that it has a pump. I don't know if you guys remember MAC Pro Longwear Concealer. That had a pump. I used to love that one so much. And this is great because it is hygienic, but if you're someone that's doing your makeup quick on the go or you don't like to have makeup on your hands, that can be a little bit annoying. I literally just pump out a very tiny bit. It's easy to control this pump. On my finger, dot it under my eyes, and then blend out with a sponge. You could put this on the back of your hand and then use a concealer brush to help apply it where you want and then blend it out. It, you know, slows down the concealer process a bit, but it looks beautiful on the skin. I feel like it gives really nice coverage, but it doesn't look like too much makeup. It's not too heavy. This blends nicely. I feel like I remember hearing some people say they liked this as a foundation. You'd go through it too quickly. I don't really recommend that, but this is a great medium coverage concealer that I think would work well with a lot of different skin types. And then for full coverage options, I went through the Ulta app and took a couple screenshots of some of the most highly rated concealers, and the e.l.f. Camo Concealer, the original, I don't recommend. I have oily under eyes and I did not like that one. It looked very cakey, I had a hard time blending it. But the Hydrating Camo Concealer, I have not tried, but people really, really love that one. Also the CoverGirl True Blend Undercover Concealer and the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear Waterproof Concealer. All three of these have a slightly larger doe foot applicator. They're all basically trying to dupe Tarte Shape Tape, and so many people really love them. These all have like 4.5 stars. So if you're looking for more of a full coverage option, definitely give those a try. And for face powder, I have a lot of recommendations because I love powder so much. So if you are looking for a loose powder, if you want something translucent, the e.l.f. Halo Glow is so popular and it has a very subtle glow to it. It's not going to make you look shimmery. It's just going to nicely set your makeup. I think if you have dry skin, you might really like that powder as well. And some people with dry skin only set their under eyes or take a very small amount of powder and a very fluffy brush. So you can play around with it. You definitely don't have to set your skin. For me, I think it's important because I don't want my makeup to get all over the place. I want to make sure it is staying there that way in case I touch somebody or I happen to press my face against something, that makeup doesn't completely come off. Now, it is so funny when I hug people, I'm like trying to hop up over their shoulder because I'm like, I am not trying to put my makeup on you. So for me, and of course I have a baby who's always touching my face, I need a little bit of powder, but not for everybody. So if you're looking for a loose powder that has some color to it, Maybelline Fit Me Loose Powder is phenomenal. Comes in several shades. I have number 5 Fair. This does give some coverage, but not too much. It doesn't look heavy. This is really nice under the eyes and to set the face. I don't always think a tinted powder works well under the eyes, but this one really does. This is so good. And if you guys have followed my channel for a while, there are some high-end powders that I really love, but they oxidize on me, and I always am reaching for my Maybelline Fit Me to lighten them and make the shade work. But this one just works perfectly on its own. I wouldn't necessarily call it mattifying or oil controlling, but it doesn't make me super shiny either. So this I think would also be good for various skin types. So the e.l.f. if you're looking for something translucent, and the Maybelline if you're looking for someone with a tint. I have tried some other translucent powders that I think are awful, so I'd stick with the e.l.f. Halo Glow. Then if you're wanting a pressed powder, the ColourPop Pretty Fresh is really nice, and this is just their pressed face powder. I have the shade Fair 1. This does give some color to the skin, but not too much. It also just sets so nicely. It doesn't look dry, so I definitely would recommend this for a tinted powder option. It's also not too powdery. Several years ago, I used the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless Pressed Powder, and I loved it, but I went through it so fast because it's so powdery and messy. This one is super good. If you're looking for a powder foundation, the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Powder is so incredible. It looks so nice on the skin. It doesn't look too heavy or cakey. I do think that's a really nice product. I feel like powder foundation had its heyday, and I love the L'Oreal the best, but I'm not gonna repurchase it because I'm a liquid foundation girl at the end of the day. But if you're interested, I think that's a phenomenal one. I've tried other powder foundations from the drugstore, and I don't think they're as good as the L'Oreal. And then y'all, this looks so busted and crusted and dusted and sad, but if you're an oily person, this is the best mattifying powder out there. This is Rimmel Stay Matte. It does come in skin tone shades. I just have the transparent one. This has super cheap packaging, but it's like a $4 powder. Not the most travel friendly. You can see I've hit major pan on this. I put some on right before this video. I can use this to set my skin. I can hit my under eyes with it, but this does such a good job of soaking up the oil without making my old makeup around it look funny. It is not cakey. Again, I have been on a quest for years, and just for curiosity's sake, wanted to try so many different mattifying powders, touch-up powders. This is absolutely the best. And lastly, for complexion, I wanted to talk about setting sprays. This is another step that some people say does nothing. There are some more hydrating mists like the ColourPop Pretty Fresh, where if you're someone that just put a bunch of powdered products on your face and you feel like you're looking a little powdery, a little bit of that hydrating mist is going to help the products sink into your skin, which I think is super nice. But if you're looking for something that is a little bit more long wearing, I think NYX does a really nice job with their setting sprays. This is the dewy finish one, and they also have a matte finish. Even though this is dewy, I don't find it to be oily. It doesn't make me oily. So I do think that those are very nice if you are looking for a setting spray recommendation. And now on to cheek products. I'm going to be showing you cream and powder options for blush, bronzer, and highlighter. I will tell you though, I tend to go high-end in these three areas, but there are some really good drugstore options as well. So starting with bronzer, this is something that I like. I'm not super in love with. A lot of people do enjoy it, though it might just depend on the color you get. This is the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer. I have the second lightest shade, Tan Lines. There's one lighter that's a little bit more cool tone. I do have a nice little dip in here. It's an interesting silicone texture, so it does blend easily like a primer. So you may want to go a shade darker than you think, or you might end up using, you know, a decent amount of product, where most other cream bronzers, I have to go in with a light hand. Not this one, I can layer it up. But I didn't have trouble blending it out. I've heard some people have, but overall this does have really rave reviews, so this might be a nice option. Then if you're wanting some powder bronzers, one that has a glow that a lot of people have loved would be the Revlon Skin Lights Bronzer. Only comes in 2 shades, unfortunately, but that does seem to give a nice subtle glow to the skin, and it's a baked gelée formula, which for other products is not my most favorite. But I do think with bronzer, it can help it just kind of blend into the skin a little bit better. And then if you're looking for more of a satin finish bronzer, I would recommend the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. They have done a good job adding more shades to this range over the years. This does have a decently strong scent. I've gotten used to it. When I first tried this many years ago, I was not into it. It's like coconut SPF, but I like it. It smells like summer. I have the color Bronzer, so it's a really nice neutral undertone for me. I am able to build it up, but it blends into the skin so nicely. There are a few shades that have a little bit more shimmer, but mostly they have this satin finish. They definitely could go a bit deeper with their range, but they have added a few deeper colors over the years. So bulky packaging, but nice formula. And then if you're looking for a true matte bronzer, I just tried these for the first time today, but I absolutely love them. This is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Bronzer. I would say it's a similar formula to their powder foundation, so it is a little bit more powdery. You're gonna get a little kick up. It's not too much though. I definitely don't mind. So these are pigmented. They're going to blend very nicely, so I would go in with a little bit more of a light hand when you use these. So I have the shades light and light medium, so I use this as a contour and this as a bronzer shade. And there is one color lighter. There is a color fair. I believe there are 8 shades in this range, which is amazing because a lot of high-end bronzers don't even come in 8 shades, and the deeper colors do look decently deep as well, which is wonderful. So L'Oreal did a great job with this new release. So then for blushes, now I don't have a single drugstore blush in my collection anymore, but I'm going to be talking about some of the most highly rated, probably the best brand for drugstore blush, I would say, is Milani, because they have cream and powder options. So they have their supercharged blush sticks. Then they have the Cheek Kiss Cream Blush, which is just like in a little compact, comes in a bunch of shades. And then they also have a cream blush trio if you're wanting a couple different colors. Then for powder, they have the Rose Powder Blush. I tried one in a really intense color several years ago and didn't love it, but it seems like people really enjoy the more natural shades. This is a matte finish blush. And then you have their Baked Blush, which does have a little bit of glow to it. This is a super popular formula. The color Luminoso is a very popular peachy shade. It's not my most favorite because it's more of like an orangey peach than like a nudie peach or a pink peach, but they are really smooth on the skin, don't look too glittery. And then e.l.f. does have some blushes as well. I was expecting to see more shades of their primer infused blush, but I only saw 2 at Ulta, but I'm sure on their own website they have more, so that's a nice powder option. And then they do have a putty blush as well that people have been obsessed with. They have like a regular cream formula, and then they did just recently launch some luminous putty blushes as well if you're interested in checking those out. And they did come out with some brushes that like fit the size and work with that formula pretty well. And then Essence is another brand that has some blushes that have been raved about for years. And Essence is a company that will like have a product like the blushes, the blushes for like a year, and then they'll get rid of them and come up with a new line of blushes that are like similar shades. So just always keep your eye out for Essence blushes. They seem to be pretty popular. And then another brand is Flower Beauty. This is Drew Barrymore's brand, and you can get several of their products from Ulta online. I'm not sure if Ulta still sell Flower Beauty in store anymore. They used to. So they do have a liquid blush that people seem to really enjoy. It has a bit more of like a dewy effect in the skin, but gives a lot of pigment. And then they do have the Flower Pots powder blush. So within that line, there are 6 colors. There are some matte and some with a sheen to it. So I feel like if right now I was gonna go pick up a powder blush, I would probably get the Flower Beauty one. It just intrigues me a little bit more, but probably just see the price point that works for you and the shade and finish that you're most interested in. Then for highlighters, for a liquid option, I have here the Flower Beauty Spotlight Liquid Highlight. This comes in 3 shades. I have the lightest one, Opal. This is supposed to be a dupe of the Charlotte Tilbury Glow Wands, and this is a really nice subtle highlight. It does have a metallic sheen, but it doesn't look crazy on the skin. It blends pretty well. Also, talking about this right now reminds me that Milani very recently released some Charlotte Tilbury wand dupes as well. They have a under eye corrector slash brightener, liquid highlights, and liquid bronzers. I think they all come in 4 shades, or maybe the highlight only comes in 3. And I did pick up one of each product. I haven't tried it yet. I will definitely get back to you once I've tried them. And I have heard people being excited about them, but I don't know if on its own it's a wonderful product or if people are excited that it's a dupe. So I'll get back to you. I'll have them linked in case you want to see what I'm talking about, but there are some other liquid options for you. And then for powder, if you're looking for more of a subtle highlight, because people recently have been into that, more of a subtle glow than an intense glow. I'm still an intense fan, but the Essence Pure Nude Highlight is like a nice light beigey champagne. And then they do have the Sun Lighter, which is a little bit deeper and more golden, so that might be nicer for someone that has a deeper skin tone. And then they also have a face palette with different shades of this highlighter. Has 4 colors in it. And then for more of an intense glow, the Wet n Wild Mega Glow highlighting powders. On Ulta's website, they only have 4 colors, but I know that they've done some limited edition shade. They've had some other colors before. I have used one of these previously. I did think that it was nice, but I have decluttered it over the years, but people still really love that formula a lot if they're wanting more of a glowy option. So guys, those are my recommendations based on what I've tried and really what's most popular for drugstore complexion and cheek products. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. If you have tried out any of these products, let us know if they worked for you or if they didn't, and why or why not. And please let us know your favorite drugstore complexion and cheek products so we can just have more recommendations. I would love to try out more things, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please stay tuned for part 2 where we will be talking about brows, eyes, and lips. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys.